Hello and welcome back. This is part 3 of a music theory basics course. In the last episode, we talked about the major scale, what it is, how it's built, and what it's good for. But you might be sitting there thinking, Jake, the major scale is all well and good, but it's just a little too nice. And if that's the case, I got just a thing for you. So today, we're talking about the minor scale.
Hello and welcome. I am Jake, a full-time musician and music educator based in Portland, Oregon. I make about half my living recording, touring, and performing, and the other half teaching lessons in guitar, piano, voice, songwriting, and more. And that's why I'm here on YouTube, to share with people around the world my music, my experience, and the lessons that have helped me along the way.
Okay, so today we are building on what we learned in the last episode. So if you haven't seen the episode on major scales, I highly recommend you go check it out. In that episode, we talked about whole steps and half steps and how we use those to build a scale. So just a quick recap, a half step is the smallest distance from one note to the next, like C to C sharp or E to F. A whole step is just 2 half steps. So we can start on any note on the piano, and to make a major scale, we follow the major scale formula. Whole, half, whole, half. And if we follow that series of steps, we get a major scale. But if we change those steps, we get a different scale. So today, we're going to talk about a different sequence of steps. So to make a minor scale, and keep in mind, this is for what we call the natural minor scale. There are other variations of the minor scale which will give us slightly different sounds, but for today we're talking about the natural minor scale. So we can start on any note on the piano. We can go a whole step, then a half step, then a whole step, then a whole step, then a half step, then a whole step, then a whole step, and we will get a minor scale. Whole, half, half, whole. So let's see how it sounds. If we start on an A right here and we follow that whole step, half step formula, we're gonna go a whole step to B, half step to C, whole step to D, whole step to E, half step to F, a whole step to G, and a whole step back to A. So here we have an A minor scale, and if you ever need to remember what that formula is, remember that you can go back to A, and then you go from A to A, all white keys, all natural notes, and think about what steps it takes in between each one of those notes. So you can go back to A, whole, half, half, whole. We get a natural minor scale. So let's take that and we'll apply it to a different note. Let's start on G this time. So if we start on G, whole, half, half, whole, you can see that I hit 2 black keys. These were B flat and E flat. And as I mentioned in the last episode, when we name the scales, we need to have every letter represented in there. So when I start on G, A, I can't call this A sharp because I would have had 2 things for A and nothing for B. So G, A, B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G. Okay, so a moment ago we played the A minor scale. Now the A minor scale we learned is all natural notes. Pop quiz, what major scale is made up of all natural notes? Yes, the C major scale. We get a C major scale when we start on C and we play all natural notes. So you'll see that A minor and C major have the same notes, but it's the starting point And it's that sequence, that formula of whole steps and half steps that gives us two different sounds. So we can start on C, and we can play all natural notes. Or if we start on A, and we play all natural notes. These will give us two very different sounds, but remember that they are the same notes in each scale. This is called relative keys. So this is one of the big takeaways from today's lesson, the idea of relative keys. So remember that playing in a key just means you're using all the notes, or some of the notes, in different combinations of that scale. So for example, if you're playing in the key of C, it means you're using the notes of the C major scale to build your chords or your melodies. Now, remember that C major is the same as A minor. We just have a different starting point, but the notes are all the same. So that means that the chords in the key of C will be the same as the chords in the key of A minor, but the sound will change because of where we chose to start or what note or chord we choose to give more weight. A little pro tip, if you're looking to find the relative keys or the relative scales, the relative major will always be 3 half steps above the relative minor. So let's go back to C and A. C major. Now, if I wanted to find the relative minor scale, I count down 3 half steps. So from C to B flat, and to A. So 1, 2, 3 half steps down, I have A, and I know that I can play all the same notes. So let's try this the other way around. Let's start on G. We played a G minor scale, so a G minor scale. And to find the relative major, I can go up 3 half steps. 1, 2, 3, and I get B flat. So I know that B flat major will have all the same notes as G minor. So just a quick aside for our guitar players out there. So same as in the last lesson, we can take the whole steps and half steps that we learned on the piano that we've seen already, and we can apply them to the guitar, just remembering that a half step is just 1 fret and a whole step is 2 frets. So if we wanted to make an A major scale, we can take our minor scale formula and we can apply it to the A note, whole, half, whole, half, whole, and we get an A minor scale. Now again, learning how to play it across the strings is a little different story, but we'll get there. Commonly on the guitar, we learn the pentatonic scale, which is just a 5-note scale instead of a 7-note scale. We're going to talk about that. It's a little easier to learn on the guitar because we have a little bit less, and the guitar can be kind of maddening learning all the shapes and patterns that we need to play these scales. But you can see that the C major pentatonic and the A minor pentatonic are using the same notes. We're just starting in a different place, but more on that later. So as I mentioned at the outset of today's video, this is part 3 in an 8-part series on music theory basics. I know that YouTube can be a little chaotic sometimes to find what information to learn and who to learn from. I know that there are a lot of music educators out there, but my goal is to lay these things out really simply, really step by step. If you enjoyed today's video, if you made it this far, thank you for being here. Thanks for sticking around. If you feel so inclined, give this video a like, give it a thumbs up. It'll help the video reach more people. It'll help the channel grow. I greatly appreciate it. If you are feeling up for it, drop a comment down below. Let me know if there's videos that you want to see me make in the future, any topics that you want to see covered. Again, I appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for making the world a more musical place. And I'll see you in the next one.